and to be here with you. After our last reunion, after our 30th reunion, I was reflecting. The 30th reunion was different. The 30th reunion was different than the 20th reunion, which was the previous one that I had attended. And there was some way in which we were more relaxed, we were more open, we were more honest with one another. And at first I thought that it was because most of us were out of the Army, and that mattered, and that we were who we were in terms of our careers, and we were a little more settled and I think less anxious. But then I began to realize that there was another facet as well. And that is that each and every one of us has been beat up by life. Each and every one of us has struggled with something, whether it was a hard divorce or a death of a loved one or betrayal from a friend or the trauma of raising children or the trauma of raising my children. And that because we've been beat around by life, some of the pretense has been knocked out of us, and we were just happy to be together as a family and reconnect as human beings, and we weren't posturing. And I'm feeling that even more at this reunion. We're more beat up, but also being more at ease with one another. And it's just great to be together. And it's great to be together and honor our classmates that we love but see no longer. On this list of 25, there's only one I know well. Lara Howard York. She was in my Buckner platoon, and there were many hours spent talking with her where I was receiving her wise counsel when I was struggling with some life choices. And we were sitting on those cement steps outside the Quonset Hut barracks that are still there. And 35 years worse the wear. Lara's the only one on this list, and I miss her. But it doesn't matter to me that I don't know the other 24 people on this list. Every time I hear word of a classmate who has died, it diminishes me. And it diminishes us. And I will show up here in this chapel at every reunion, even if I didn't know anybody on this list. Because it's important. And because we are connected in this mystical bond. This mystical bond that connects us as classmates, forged through our 4 years in this crucible. Forged because not only of the common experience that we had as cadets, but the way in which we were the common experience. You are my experience of West Point. And you are what shaped me, and you are what carried me forward, and I love you. Whether it was, a rainy night at Lake Frederick with little rivers running through our shelter half tent, soaking our sleeping, or helping us know what little tiny equations to write on that little card for our thermofluid dynamics exam, or when you're a yearling and you miss every class on one day because you're still drunk from the night before, and the CQ or somebody makes all the absentee slips disappear so you never get in trouble. I heard that happen to someone once. But we had these 4 years together that bound us together in this mystical communion that it's hard to explain or express, but I know, if I was anywhere in this country and I was in crisis, I could call a classmate and you would be there for me. And I would be there for you. And that is something. We have this communion, this union that transcends space and time and even transcends death as we remember our fallen classmates. There's something else, though. there's something else that unites us as a class. And it has to do with the values that are instilled in our hearts at this place. It has to do with duty and honor and country. I came to West Point for every wrong reason. It was a year before our day when I first heard about West Point. I was wondering what to do with my life, and I asked my high school girlfriend, who was a year behind me in school, who is now my wife, what I should do, and she told me about this place called West Point, and I set away for the catalog, and the pictures were impressive, and the price was right. So I figured, what the heck, I'll go to West Point. I had no frame of reference of what I was getting myself into. I was not raised in a military family. My dad was in the Air Force. My only frame of reference was MASH. Watching episodes of MASH and seeing my hero, Hawkeye Pierce, and how he handled the military institution, so I figured that's the ticket. I'll just Hawkeye Pierce my way through and sort of, be Joe Cool and not take anything seriously and sort of, just laugh it all off, but something happened. Something happened. And these words, duty, honor, country, those three hallowed words started to seep into my soul and into my heart and into my bones. And what I should be. And when I listened to the better angels of my nature, it was what I became. And I come back here both to reconnect with you and to remember our bonds of affection and restore our bonds of affection and realize how deeply we're connected. But I also come to drink deeply from the well of the values of this place that are always calling me to be my better self, to live in the world and serve others out of my better self. This place does that for me and does that for us. And I'm committed to you, and I'm committed to us, and I'm committed to our country. And right now, things are crazy, and things are challenging, and things are scary, and everyone I talk to, whether conservative or liberal, are concerned about a breakdown in our social fabric, this corrosion in our society. We used to be able to disagree, but now we're moving into disdaining. And when we allow our cultural discourse to move into disdain, our cultural fabric starts to rip apart. And what broke my heart as we were preparing for this reunion is it has infected our own class, and we had classmates who didn't want to come to the reunion because they were afraid of the political fight or the political conversation that could happen here. And what broke my heart about that was I think if any population can withstand the corrosion that is happening in our culture, it should be us. Because we are bound together in love with one another. We are bound together in a communion that not only transcends space, not only transcends death, but I believe in my heart of hearts transcends politics. I love you, regardless of whether or not we agree. And with that, and with the values that we have instilled in our hearts, we can do this. We can be that light on a hill of a community that actually can love each other in difference and lead this country even though we disagree. We have to find that way and be that path. General MacArthur, in his famous address, talked about the graduates of West Point as, sorry, General, the graduates of West Point as being the custodians of the nation's defense. But on further reflection, I think there's even more. I think we are the stewards of the nation's soul. Because there is no other institution where people are grounded so deeply in the values. The mission of this place is to create leaders of high moral character. Like character and ethics and values and sacrifice and service and love and integrity. That's at the core of everything that happens here, and we have been formed here. And right now there's corrosion in our country, and we have the capacity in the way we live our lives to be agents of vision and integrity and hope and love, to lead maybe not the country, but at least one another and our circles of friends, to show them that we can live above this common level of life that is ripping our country apart right now. We can do this. And there are moments when I begin to lose faith, and I begin to lose hope. But coming together with you, drinking again from this well of values, and this history of graduates of this place striving against all odds to defeat evil, to stand for what is right, and to be reminded of how deeply I love you. It's coming together with you that helps me regain faith when sometimes there is little cause for faith, and to create hope when hope has become forlorn. I love you. Thank you.